Right now on Denver 7 News, President Biden taking steps to protect abortion access in response to the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, what he's now calling on Americans to do. The first day of school is coming up fast, the deals teachers and students should know about before the back-to-school shopping rush. And a heat wave expected across the Mile High City and other parts of the state. From tubing to swimming to staying indoors, what you can do to stay cool while keeping yourself and your family safe. Good morning and welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford.
And I'm Katie LaSalle. Thank you so much for joining us here on this beautiful Saturday morning. And it is going to be a very hot weekend ahead. So let's start with taking a live look outside across the Front Range. Clear skies this morning. We're in for a dry weekend for the Front Range, Eastern Plains. Could see an isolated storm into the mountains, but overall it is mainly going to be the heat we will be talking about all weekend long. This morning, though, things are mild. Skies are mostly clear. A ridge of high pressure building in over the region, and those temperatures are going to heat to near 100 degrees here in Denver later on this afternoon. An air quality warning set to take effect this morning, lasting until at least 4 o'clock this afternoon. Stagnant air, relatively calm winds, unhealthy for sensitive groups, so you may want to limit time outside if you do suffer any respiratory issues. Temperatures right now nice and mild, but it's already 75 degrees in Denver, 40s and 50s into the high country. If you're trying to beat the heat, maybe head to higher terrain. You can see from our hourly planner for the metro by 11 o'clock reaching 88 degrees and daytime high breaking the previous record of 98 at 100 later on this afternoon at DIA. 98 into Highlands Ranch, high 90s over Boulder, Erie, and triple-digit heat returns to the northeastern corner of the state. Mostly clear skies into the mountains, and those temperatures will gradually climb to the 80s, even 90s. And with all of these high temperatures across the state, a lot of you may be planning to cool off in places like Clear Creek this weekend. Our Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live there this morning with what you need to know before you hit the water today. Christian.
Yeah, and after this week's tragic drownings in this area, officials are urging everyone to take all necessary safety precautions. 2 people recently died in 2 separate tubing accidents here in the Clear Creek area. So if you're planning on heading out here, make sure that you take all necessary steps to stay safe. Jeffco officials are reminding everyone to only tube in designated areas. And in Clear Creek, there are also flags that are posted around showing just how fast that current is moving. So they're asking you to pay attention to these flags, which indicate the level of danger in the creek and the precautions that should be taken. It is important, and we hear this all the time, but making sure that you wear a helmet and a life jacket. We talked to a kayaker who has seen people acting unsafely in the water, and she wishes that people would take this more seriously.
No one goes on the river thinking, this is my last day here, but it very much happens. And it very much can be avoided. When we go on the river, we're taking a certain amount of personal responsibility for ourselves and our actions.
And so far this year in Colorado, there have been 23 drownings. Back in 2020, the state saw a record 34 drownings. If you do plan on cooling off in areas like Clear Creek, just make sure that you do everything you can to keep yourself and others around you safe. Reporting live from Golden this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you for those tips out on the water. If you're opting to stay indoors instead, Xcel Energy has tips for keeping your home cool and your energy bill low. Keep blinds and curtains closed to keep the heat out. Make sure any exterior doors are closed to keep air conditioning on the inside. Run ceiling fans counterclockwise. They use less energy than AC and can help keep rooms cool. Plus, have your AC coils cleaned to improve efficiency and to cut down on those energy costs.
And we're not the only ones under a major heat wave today. More than 50 million people across the southeast are expected to see higher than usual temperatures, including Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. Those areas will see highs in the 90s, in some cases over 100 degrees as well. Authorities always remind people to check in on friends and relatives, especially the elderly, when the heat gets this excessive.
Poudre Wilderness volunteers need help working on trails. Last summer, nearly every trail in Poudre Canyon was reopened. That's because paid crews and volunteers worked together to improve the area. This weekend, volunteers will be working on the most popular trail in the canyon, the Gray Rock Trail. You can learn more and sign up to help on the Poudre Wilderness Volunteers website. There's another public work weekend in August.
We are now less than 1 week away from a major traffic switch along the Central 70 project. Right now, both directions of traffic are using the westbound tunnel between Brighton and Colorado Boulevards. Well, next Friday night, all traffic will be detoured while crews realign the interstate. And when Central 70 reopens the following Monday, eastbound traffic will use the new tunnel. It's taken nearly 4 years to get to this point. Well, Denver's e-bike voucher program resumes on Monday. Up to 2,000 rebates will be available. People can save up to $1,700 at qualifying shops. And according to the Denver Business Journal, Denver will host the world's first national e-bike trade show in 2023.
5 cities are suing the state of Colorado and Governor Polis over a new law that's set to kick in next month. They argue that the law, which was passed by the state legislature this year, will put the future of Colorado cities' authority and finances in jeopardy. Here's Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez.
In communities across Colorado, the sounds of construction are everywhere. It's not just new apartments or homes being built, but also new schools. Between inflation and supply chain disruptions, the cost of construction isn't cheap. So this year, state legislators passed a new law to limit some taxes.
We just feel like it's appropriate for the betterment of the entire state.
House Bill 1024 is set to go in effect in August. It says home rule cities cannot charge a sales and use tax on school construction materials.
And we really felt like this was urgent because Colorado faces a huge backlog in school construction around the state.
And supporters say cities shouldn't be trying to make money from building schools. Of Colorado's 272 municipalities, 104 are home rule.
69 of them self-collect their sales taxes. Home rule municipalities that self-collect find that they are collecting more of the taxes that are due than if the state does it.
Of those, 5 have a sales tax on school construction materials. Denver, Boulder, Commerce City, Pueblo, and Westminster. Those cities are now suing the state over this new law.
This challenge to an unconstitutional piece of legislation adopted by the General Assembly and signed by the governor is a great test of that home rule authority.
It's really not a question of the money.
Commerce City manager Roger Tinklenberg says this will undermine the concept of home rule, which gives cities the right to self-govern on matters of local concern.
It's the principle of home rule and guarding that principle that's written into the Constitution.
Under this new law, Commerce City stands to lose around $600,000 a year, money it puts right back into the community.
It can range from upgrading playground, ball fields, upgrading a gymnasium, that type of thing, where there's beneficial use to both the community and the school district students.
That's great, but most municipalities are not doing that. And so what happens is the state ends up overpaying, using tax money to pay taxes.
The state says this should be under its purview. Cities say this is a slippery slope. Ultimately, though, a court will decide who has the final say over these taxes. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
And there you just heard what Commerce City stands to lose. Denver could see $2 to $3 million in losses annually. Meanwhile, Pueblo could see $3 to $4 million in lost tax revenue. The cities have asked for an expedited ruling on the matter since the law is set to kick in on August 10th. Well, somehow it is already time for families to start thinking about going back to school.
Yep, the first bell is now less than a month away for some districts. The first metro district back this year will be Douglas County Schools on August 8th. Aurora and Adams 14, they start the next day. 27J and Greeley-Evans also start that second week of August. While our largest districts, Jeffco and Denver, start later in the month. And with that, it is time to start thinking about some back to school shopping for students and teachers. Target wants to help. Now through August 3rd, college students can save up to 20% through Target Circle rewards. And starting next week, teachers can get a 15% discount on supplies through Target Circle. That deal lasts through September, and all you need is a valid ID.
And when you're back to school shopping, experts say don't blow your entire budget right away. Kids grow fast, their taste in clothing changes too. So buy some basic items for now, then wait for deeper discounts after most schools start. As for supplies, check out the back to school section if you're a Sam's Club or Costco member.
Especially if you have multiple kids who need lots of notebooks, lots of folders, pens, you could buy those items wholesale and split them up amongst your kids.
Walmart and Target also have dollar items.
The Salvation Army says it will cost $23.50 to provide a child with a backpack full of supplies this year, and that's nearly $10 more than last year. So if you'd like to help a student in need this year, you can donate at our website, thedenverchannel.com/packabackpack, or drop off supplies at any Les Schwab Tires or Larry H. Miller dealership location.
If you're looking to chow down today, a Mole Festival is happening in Denver. It's part of the 10th annual Frida Kahlo Festival, an event to celebrate her life and her fight for social justice.
So she wasn't just a painter, she was also a revolutionary. She did a lot of work to fight for workers' rights, to fight for indigenous rights. So she was very multifaceted in that way.
And then the Mole Festival is going to feature over 30 different types of moles from different community and professional chefs. So a good mix of people from here in Westwood and also businesses in this community as well.
The Mole Festival will include Frida's own family mole recipe. There will also be music, vendors, and cultural performances. The festivals are today in Denver's Westwood neighborhood near Morrison and Alameda from 2 to 8. Colorado now has the highest looping roller coaster in the country. Glenwood Caverns says that its new roller coaster, Defiance, literally defies gravity. It has the steepest freefall drop in the western U.S. I don't even want to look at the screen right now. It's more than 7,000 feet above sea level, which means that you can experience some great views up there. Plus, it can go as fast as 56 miles per hour. The park is planning to unveil it later on today. One Colorado woman lending a helping hand so families who can't afford it can keep their four-legged friends. How this week's Denver 7 Everyday Hero has kept the Denver Pet Pantry going through the pandemic. Plus,